Hey everyone, Lucas Schreckendieck here, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about setting your standards. So, a lot of people that are very much into self improvement will try to put a lot of stuff on their plate. They'll try to do many things at once, um, almost always to the point where they eventually burn out, let some things slide, or go back to their old habits. And the biggest reason for this is because they don't take the few things that matter seriously enough. They don't raise their standards to the level where they just do it. You'll have some of these people. Usually, when the habit or the thing that they're trying to do is very important, or when someone like their parents or their boss really makes sure they do it no matter what. Now, if someone else is holding you accountable, this becomes a lot easier, but usually you want to add that level of seriousness yourself. So, what does this mean exactly? Well, let's take, for example, working out. Something that a lot of people want to do and something that a lot of people still struggle with. When you're planning to work out, it's fine to set a time down and say, you know what, I'll go to the gym at 6 p.m. every single day, or 6 days out of the week, or 5 days, or whatever it is you set yourself for. Um, that's fine. The problem comes in is that it's such a narrow window. Just at 6 p.m., you're either at the gym or you're not, which means you either make it or you fail. And this dichotomy of this extreme black and white makes it very hard to give it any wiggle room and to raise your standards enough for you to say, no, I will go. So if you want to do this, you have to add enough seriousness so that you say no to everything probably half an hour in advance, no matter what that is, and you go anyway, which is very hard. Something that I personally like more is to say you'll work out 1 hour today before the end of the day, no matter what. Gives you at least a little bit more wiggle room. It gives you don't have to get to 6 p.m. Ideally you do, but if you get to the gym at 6:10, that's fine too. The point here is that you want to make sure that you set your standards so high that it's something that is not not worth discussing. It's not something that you'll argue with yourself about. This is just something that you do. The same way as you brush your teeth in the morning. That is just something that you do. You don't argue with yourself about that. You don't go, oh, I have to brush my teeth again. Please, no. That doesn't happen. You don't have any conversation. You just go and you just do it. Now, it's not that simple for a lot of things, but it could be if you allowed yourself to really to really just stop the thoughts about this. What I mean by this is, you can when you allow your thoughts to get in there, when you allow yourself to discuss whether or not you should go, you often give yourself wiggle room not to do it. Giving yourself time or thinking about it is essentially just giving yourself room to change your mind. And I know many of you will be able to relate to this when it comes to waking up in the morning. And you hit that alarm clock, and you lie there in bed and you think, should I really get up? And that's when the argument starts. That's when the discussion starts. Well, if I, hurry up, or if I only grab a bite to eat on the way, I might be able to stay in bed for 10 minutes longer. Or if I, grab a coffee, if I don't grab a coffee today, I'll be able to hit the snooze button for 5 more minutes, or whatever it is. And the arguments start, which is just an option for you to change your mind. If you, however, just cut that short and said, no, I have to. I don't have a choice. This is not negotiable. And you just stop your thoughts and you just keep saying, nope, 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 I have to. No, no, screw it. Let me just get up. I have to. I must. This is not arguable. And you hit the alarm button and it's much more likely that you'll get up. And that's the core idea of today. The must. When you go to work every single day, it's because to you, in your head, that's a must. People who are not that interested in keeping their jobs, that's not a must for them. It's a very big should, but it's not a must. Brushing your teeth has become a must. It's not something you think about. I would even consider that one level higher than the must, because you don't even think about it anymore. But A lot of these other things are just musts, things that you have to do. And that's where you want to get to, where you're so set on doing this that it does not matter what happens around you. Some people, even in a completely drunken state in the evening, will still go and brush their teeth before they go to bed, because it's just so ingrained. And this leads me to my second point. There's always going to be a way to find an excuse not to do it. Every single time you think about it, there's always going to be a probably even legitimate reason not to do it. For instance, if you're sleeping and the alarm clock rings and you feel tired, then obviously a good reason to stay asleep is to get a little bit more energy out of the day. That might actually be a valid reason. And as soon as your mind accepts that as such a valid reason, you'll likely start to hit that snooze button. However, there's also always a reason to do it. You can find either. It's a matter of what you're looking for. And so many times, so often, it happens that when you are starting something, or when you're forcing yourself to do something, that you don't really want to do it, or it's a very big struggle. So most of the times, you'll try to find a way to reason yourself out of doing it, not into doing it. This is why there's a lot of research in this in terms of intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation in psychology. And a lot of self-improvement experts talk about this. Simon Sinek's book, The Why, or Why, I'm not exactly sure on the title, but if you type those into any search engine, you'll come across that book. That's a great start because your reason matters so much. You know that you have to brush your teeth because otherwise that's going to be expensive, it's going to be unattractive. You don't want that to happen, so you brush your teeth every day. There, the why completely beats out the effort of the task. For workouts, it's sometimes the same, oftentimes not. Same for waking up. If you, for instance, go only to work out to lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds, that's a nice goal, but it's not really that worth it. If you go because your doctor told you will die in next year if you don't go, that's a pretty big why. And you'll make it such a must, and you'll find a way, and you'll look more for ways to do it and reasons to go instead of not. Or maybe even you don't have to look that hard because you'll just remember that one reason and you'll just go to the gym. And that's where the problem lies. A lot of us, we don't have these musts, not these natural ones anyway. We don't have these people that hold us accountable so much. We don't have these big reasons, and we never really look for them. We just think, hey, it's a good idea to go jogging. It's a good idea to go to the gym. It's a good idea to wake up earlier. So we try, and then if we don't do it, it's not a big deal, and we reason our way out of it before we even start. To raise your standards, you have to find it either in a reason, or you just have to not allow any other thing in. So you either have to make it a reason where you just have to do it, and there's no excuses, no other option, there's no arguments, no discussions, you just have to do it. Or you have to convince yourself of that. A trick that I used and that I would highly recommend is just to say, I know I said this for myself, but that is reason enough for me to do it. And every time your mind comes up with some thoughts or some reasons not to do it, you just say, nope, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway. It doesn't matter, screw it, let me just get up, screw it. And you just block these other thoughts out with so many thoughts, with so much counter thoughts, that you eventually just do get up, that you eventually just do rise, that you eventually just, you move before your thoughts can butt in, so to speak. Which is actually another little trick that you can do, and that's movement. Your brain and your body can do different things. So if, for instance, this works really well if you're waking up, if you think about, should I get up or shouldn't I get up, and then you will your legs to get out of the bed, and you will yourself to sit up straight, and you keep arguing in your head. You can keep arguing all day long if you want to, as long as your body moves kind of on its own. Or just move your body anyway. It'll make it a lot easier for you than to be up and still complain about getting up when you're already in the bathroom maybe. So that's another little trick where the motion can carry you through some of these hindering thoughts. But the biggest thing is just setting the standard where you say, no, this is just a must for me. This is not worth arguing about. This just has to happen. And you can do this in any which way. However, what I would really recommend is that you only pick 1, 2, or at most 3 different things that you're going to treat with such intensity. Otherwise, it's too much. I know a lot of people, especially if you're looking at videos like this or listening to this on podcast, you want to do a lot. And that's okay if you have the discipline and the seriousness and the standards to do that. If you don't, slow down. Do a couple of things less. It's so much better to just do one thing and really see that through to the end than do 50 different things and abandon them all after a week. So really try to focus on the one most important thing and then do that one no matter what. Maybe add another 1 or 2 things that you'll do very seriously, and then everything else you'll try, but it's not a big deal if you don't do it as long as you get the other things done. For that as well, please set yourself some reminders. Please give yourself some reminders. You don't have to do this all in your head. Post-it notes, alarms on your cell phone. Both of those are just great and simple tools for you to remember this, because so often we just forget that we wanted to take this seriously. We simply forget. It's not like you wanted not to do it. It's not like you chose not to do it. You just forgot about it. And then you remember when it's way too late. Now, when it's way too late, quote unquote, you can still go and do it. Remember, find a reason to do it, not a reason not to do it. Too late in the day is also just finding an excuse. You can totally work out still at 1 in the morning. You might be really, really tired the next day, but that's a consequence you might have to live with. Otherwise, you just set yourself some reminders or use however many tools you need to get it done and to just do it. There's a lot more that goes into this, but I hope that gives you a good starting baseline. The biggest, if you're starting anything, or if you want to start anything, pick one thing. Make sure that it's important. Make sure that you find a reason to do it, not to do it. Make it non-negotiable in your head, no matter what the argument is. As long as you are physically able to do it, you go and do it. Now, if you broke your leg going jogging, maybe you can give yourself a bye at that point and saying it's okay that you're not going jogging. But otherwise, you just commit to it and you just do it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's 2 a.m. It doesn't matter whether you have a lot of stuff going on the next day. Nothing else matters. No reason can be good enough. And if you keep that up, you'll get more and more hits in, and you'll eventually see that it becomes second nature, and you won't have to put that much seriousness on it. But for now, do it, and do it because you know you have a reason for it, because there's a point for why you even decided to do this. There is a why, and this is for you. And as long as you remember that, you'll be just fine.